Hey, Thomas, thanks for joining me. I just want to go back to 1,029 NHL games played. And it wasn't that long ago that you hung up the skates. But back then when you were playing, did you ever have any urges or ideas that you would have this second career in hockey after being a player?
I did. I just didn't know which direction really. I mean, I felt like, as you get older in your career, you kind of become a mentor anyways to the younger guys. I remember in Detroit, I had the Larkins, Mantas, and Fisio, and I was, our head coach was Jeff Blashill at the time, and I almost felt like another coach and mentor, and I really enjoyed that role. And then once I retired, I got three boys, so I started coaching them, and and after 2, 3 years out of the game, I really missed being in a game, being part of a team again. So this opportunity I had with Mike and the Sharks, it's been awesome for me.
Sounds like you were already transitioning for what's next, like when you were a player. But what is that transition like? Because all of a sudden, you're in hockey still, and it's the same game and names and teams and all that stuff, but you're seeing it from a totally different vantage point. How is that transition that you've been through?
It's hard. It's. I think as a player, you're so focused on day-to-day focus and staying healthy, being a good teammate, trying to win hockey games, scoring goals for myself. And then once you're out of it and seeing the game from the bench or up above, I think you get a different appreciation of what other side of the game there is. I mean, especially the scouting. I've been scouting on the amateur side.
hmm
Man, it's extremely difficult. And when you're in the game, you don't appreciate it and don't realize how hard these scouts work.
What makes a good scout, by the way? I mean, there's a lot of different approaches and styles and backgrounds, but to
Yeah.
you, what is a good scout?
Well, to me, it's easy to sit in the rink and see the best players. I think everyone can spot those out. For me, I kind of scout the way I played. I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the toughest or any of this, but what made me good, I believe, was my hockey IQ. So I really watch the game from above now and watch these players, what they do away from the puck. Do they scan left and right and how they interact with their teammates? Because that's a huge part of the game. So to me, that's the way I like to scout is more of the hockey IQ
Well,
mentality of the game.
scouting is how you joined the Sharks, but you have a new title, and we will
Mhm.
talk about that in a second. But I actually want to go to the beginnings of how you joined this franchise. And a lot of people thought, well, wait, Vanek and Ryan Miller, Buffalo Sabres, as we know them most commonly. But then you realize that's Mike Greer's background as well, too. So what's the trust level like between three of you who have known each other for a very long
Mhm.
time? You've been in the trenches with each other. How does that translate into the front office of the Sharks now?
Well, it translates amazing. It's not just Ryan and I. I think the staff that Mike has surrounded himself with,
Yeah.
it's great to be, if it's Zoom calls or in person with all those guys because the hockey knowledge is just off the charts and we all think the game differently. Mike is, when I first came to the league, Mike was my mentor, or one of my mentors. So I have so much respect for him. And then the best thing about Mike, in my opinion, is that it's not just his way. He really appreciates feedback, wants feedback, and I think it will show in the coming years what kind of leader he is and what kind of team he's going to build.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of the hard work so far, and we can talk about
Mhm.
that too in just a second. But as for your new title, Hockey Operations Advisor, what is the shift like for you? What does the job entail? What's the role, and how do you expect your contributions to go this year?
Well, I think for me, I mean, with the new title, I still really enjoy the amateur scouting. So I told Mike, because in the transition that we're still in, I think that's a huge part still of the draft. So I'll still be doing a lot of amateur scouting, but at the same time, probably a little bit more involved with Mike on not day-to-day basis, but for free agency and trades and just talking hockey and building a team.
You talk about a lot of the hard work that Mike has done, as well as the entire staff. I
Hmm.
think, though, from the outside looking in, and I want to see what other people are seeing, they don't maybe necessarily understand all the effort and all the progress that's been made in terms of clearing cap space and
Yeah.
creating draft picks and scouting and selecting the right players. How do you see the progress of the last several years? Because I think you have a better understanding of it than anybody.
Well, I think the progress is it's hard. Winning is hard in this league. I
Yeah.
mean, I played for a long time, and I wasn't fortunate enough to win a Stanley Cup, and that still drives me, and I know that drives Mike and the rest of our staff. But again, what he has done is put good people in the right places. And I think our draft picks over the years have been really good. Chris Morehouse and his staff have done an amazing job. And that's really how you build is through the draft. And I think we have some key pieces in those drafts. And now it's obviously, get those guys a lot of ice time, see where they're at, and then in the coming seasons here, surround them with more good players.
How intense is the hockey operations side of things that nobody sees? Are you talking every day? Are you traveling? Are you seeing multiple games per day? Like, what is the workload of you and your coworkers?
Well, for me, like I said, I'm still kind of new in it, but
Yeah.
for me, it's still, I didn't think when I was going to retire that, I played in the USHL, God, 25 years ago. And now I'm, going back
You're
to
back.
Waterloo, Des Moines, and Fargo, Sioux Falls, where I played. So, I didn't think after my career I was going to be in the car driving all over those towns again, but I really enjoy it. And as far as games, it all depends on the schedule. The junior hockey is a lot on the weekends. So, yeah, you might be Friday night in Fargo. The next night you might be in Omaha, and off you go.
One thing I like about the Sharks is that we don't know how this year is going to shake out in terms of what players will even get the chance to be there. So many bubble players, so many players in the pipeline, and eventually that's going to happen for them. What excites you most about just the group that the franchise has right now of players?
Well, I think you said it perfectly. That there's a lot more players.
Right.
Competition, I think, is exactly what Mike wants, because the only way to get better internally is to have competition. I think, we have that this year. Is that going to translate into a lot more wins? We'll see. I mean, obviously we have a great coaching staff and some good pieces, but the internal competition is definitely a lot higher, which is progress.
I think we all have an understanding of where this could and should go, where this team and franchise should go. The biggest question is just timing. How long does it take? How many seasons does it take? I don't have the answer. I know you don't have the answer too. What does your gut instinct, though, tell you about timing and maybe a little bit of patience, but also remaining urgent about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you can't just, have your young players be the best players. You want them to be the best players right away, but, I played the game myself. It's hard. It takes you a couple seasons to, feel comfortable, knowing, how to be a leader and all those things. But like I said, with the young studs that we have, watching them last year, they made some big strides, and we'll see them make even bigger strides. But again, every team wants to make the right trades and be relevant and good right away. But patience is sometimes hard, but it's the right thing to do.
I've got so many favorite young players, from the Colin Graffs to the Canyones, and I can't forget Will Smith. But obviously, I'm just going to ask you a Macklin Celebrini question here. I mean, you were in the league for so many years. You saw so many young players come up during the time period when you played. Can you compare Macklin to anybody already after just one season of like where his trajectory might go?
Well, it's, again, I don't. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
But again, he reminds me a lot of Crosby, and I don't want to put that out there for, I'm sure people think that way, but
right.
Because I remember when Crosby came in the league, I was still young. I'm like, he does everything great. There's not a flaw. And I look at Macklin, and it's the same. Like his defensive, I mean, in college, what he did as a 17-year-old, I played college hockey, and it was extremely hard. And he just works every single day. So again, a Crosby ceiling is, you don't want to put that label on any player, but if he's trending that way, which I believe he is, then he's a cornerstone.
Well, he was hanging out with Sid and Nate McKinnon like over the summer, so maybe there is some of that rubbing off. 87 on 71. Hey, last thing for you, your son recently got drafted by the Ottawa Senators. That's got to be a great family moment.
It was a great family moment, even though he was actually in Madison, Wisconsin with some buddies at a Morgan Wallen concert. My wife was with our twin boys somewhere else for baseball, and I was in San Jose. So we were all over, but it was still a cool moment for all of us to see it on TV at the same time, pretty much. So it was, great for him. A lot of work ahead still, but obviously exciting for him.
Yeah, well, you'll be scouting him in a different way, I'm sure, as a proud father. But congratulations on that. Congratulations on the new title. Glad to have you inside the San Jose organization, and we'll catch up soon again. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.